Hello there, very good evening. Welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the News First team.
And I'm Anula Ratnika. Before we head on to your stories in detail, let's first take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Rainfall to intensify again. A few minutes of heavy showers flood Colombo. Officials to blame for floodwaters in Mathura not receding. Agreement to seek assistance from China's Huawei to digitalize schools in Sri Lanka. Another parliamentary committee to investigate the Easter Sunday attack. Opposition leader imposes conditions. Sri Lankan woman in Israel confirmed dead. Anushka Gunatilaka's cricket ban lifted.
Taking a look at those stories in detail now. Up first, the weather situation in the country. After experiencing a few days of average weather here in Sri Lanka, rainfall is on the rise again. And with the increase in the rainfall, especially in areas like Colombo, many areas were seen flooded today.
The Department of Meteorology says that the intertropical convergence zone, where winds from the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere converge, is affecting the island's weather. Due to its influence, the current rainy conditions of the island are expected to continue. The Met Department adds that certain areas in the Uva, Sabaragamu and central provinces may experience heavy rainfall of above 100 millimeters, and that coastal areas of the western, southern and eastern provinces and the Mana and Jaffna districts may experience rainfall. The department also says that residents should be vigilant as the northern, north central, northwestern, eastern, Uva and southern provinces may experience heavy rainfall with strong lightning during night time. The highest rainfall during the last 24 hours was recorded from Trincomalee, and the value is above 97.7 millimeters. Many roads in Colombo and its suburbs were inundated as well. Armour Street was flooded due to showers in the area this morning. The general public expressed their displeasure over the area being flooded even during minor showers. Velevatta in Vallampitiya was also flooded. Mardana was also inundated. Deans Road in Mardana, Vipulasena Mawata and Norris Canal Road were inundated as well. The flow of traffic along these roads were hampered. Several byroads in areas surrounding Pulhengoda were also inundated.
Meanwhile, the landslide warning has been extended to 9 districts. The National Building Research Organisation said that such warnings have been issued under Phase 1 and 2 for Badulla, Gaul, Hambantota, Kandy, K. Gaul, Mathale, Mathura, Nuwara and Ratnapura districts.
Floodwaters have begun to recede in several lowlands in Mathura, while many areas in Malimbada and Talagagoda are still inundated. Residents here say that they are unable to live in their homes.
දැන් මේ සැරේ ගැලුවම තමයි මේකේ අර හැලිය දාපුවා වගේ අර ගන්නට වතුර තිබ්බා. ඉතින් මේව විනාශ වුණේ ඒකේ. කුඹුරුණත් අද ගලලා හෙට බහිනකොට කොහොම සතියක් විතර කරනකොට කුඹුරු බහැලා යනවා. එතකොට ආයිත් අර පැලවෙනවා. දැන් මේ සැරේ නම් පැලවෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැත්තේ නෑ ගුවන් වලට. කන් අතර හින්දා මේ හරිය තීරව විනාශ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ කුඹුරු පිටිත් විනාශයි අපර ඇකේ රස්සාවකුත් නෑ.
The road opposite the Palatua Galpamuna Vidyalaya in Mathura was flooded, and the school students and the residents were severely affected by this. They staged a silent protest in the area.
මේ වතුරේ බැහැලා යන හැම කෙනෙකුටම හැදෙන රෝගය කුමක්ද කියන එක පිළිබඳව ඇත්තටම කියන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. මේ වෙන විට පල් වෙච්ච ගඳ ගහන කුඹුරු බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
2004 විශාල ගම්වතුරක් ආවා. 2017 විශාල ගම්වතුරක් ආවා. නමුත් ඒ ගම්වතුරවල් මීට වඩා දරුණු ගම්වතුරවල් ඒවා දවස් 3න් 4න් බැහැලා ගියා. මේ ගම්වතුර ඇතුළේ විශාල ගම්වතුරකුත් නෙවෙයි. නමුත් බැහැලා යන්නේ නැහැ.
දැන් අදට දවස් 20ක් වෙනවා මේ පාර මේ යට වෙලා. ඇයි මේවා පේන්නේ නැද්ද අද තියෙන ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් මේ කැප වෙන්නේ නැද්ද මේ වෙනුවෙන්?
Several areas in Hambantota are still inundated, while people of Vellavatta, Marepara and several other areas were also affected.
හැමතැනම හේදීගෙන දැන් මේකේ බහින්න බෑ බැස්ස ගම රෑස් හැදෙන. හරි අපිරිසුදු වතුරක් තියෙන. ඒත් මේ ගෙවල් ඔක්කොංගම ලැට්වල ඔක්කොම ඉතිරිලානේ තියෙන. නිදාගන්න ඇඳත් පා වෙනවා කියන මේවා සේරම වතුර උරලා තියෙන ඒ ඇඳවල. මේ මෙට්ටවල.
Two floodgates of the Polgolla Mahaveli Dam have been opened due to heavy rains.
Attention was directed in Parliament today towards the failure to implement the decisions reached regarding the salinity barrier in Mathura. The matter was raised by parliamentarians of the Mathura district.
Because of the short-sighted actions of the Irrigation Department and the Water Board at the Nilvala River Valley in Mathura, 9 harvests of 12,000 acres of paddy fields were destroyed. However, compensation has still not been paid for nearly 5 of the harvests. These people don't have any food. These houses have been inundated for nearly a month. Will steps be taken to provide the compensation approved by the Agriculture Ministry of the Ministry of Water Supply, and how long will it take? We will direct attention towards the method to provide the compensation. It is appropriate for the Irrigation Department and Agriculture Ministry to provide a solution to this issue, and we will implement it. If we inform the Water Board and the Irrigation Department to implement the decisions that have been reached, that is sufficient for now. These villages have been inundated for a month. We have experienced the worst floods, but water levels have not risen to this level before. A committee which includes Minister Jeevan Thondaman and the Minister of Irrigation, chaired by Minister Kanchana Wijesekara, reached a decision in this regard nearly a week ago. The public opinion is that there is a pond in the area of around 20 kilometers because of the salinity barrier that is 5 kilometers above the estuary of the river for the first time. So a good decision was reached and an estimate was made. The army gave an estimate of 7 million rupees and the water board estimated nearly 10 million rupees. It is in the same level because they can't reach a final decision in this regard. If showers are experienced once again today and tomorrow, as predicted by the Met Department, serious concerns may arise regarding our political careers. This is an emergency situation. If the army has presented an estimate, why are they waiting to call for tenders? Why waste time? Don't take lives of the farmers lightly.
අවසාන තීරණයට එළඹුණා ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා. නමුත් තීරණය ක්‍රියාත්මක නොකරන එකයි දැන් තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ.
දැන් විසඳුමක් තියෙනවානේ. මේ විසඳුම tender.
There is a solution. There is one way to implement it outside of the tender process by using state institutions. We have the NEMO, the State Engineering Corporation, the SD and CCC. We can do it through them. Why is it not done?
ඇයි කරන්නේ?
ඔබතුමා යෝජනා කරන කලියෝග
Before you propose this, we gave the task to the army. These officials are not allowing them to do it. That is the issue.
හරින් ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නෙමෙයි තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ.
A proposal to appoint another parliamentary special committee to investigate the Easter Sunday terror attack was made by the ruling party today.
Now, this proposal to appoint another parliamentary select committee and conduct an investigation into a number of recent revelations about the Easter Sunday attack was presented in writing, and it was signed by 20 parliamentarians from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
SLPP MP Pradeep Undugoda presented the proposal about the selection committee to inquire into the Channel 4 video on the Easter attacks, and it was confirmed by MP Udayakantha Gunathilaka. The MPs of the Podujana Peramuna have highlighted the points that the committee consisting of 11 MPs should pay attention to. And these include the allegations by the Channel 4 documentary that senior military intelligence officers and some politicians maintained communications with the terrorists who carried out the Easter attack, the statement made on the day of the the retirement of former Attorney General Dappula Dilivera, saying that there is a grand conspiracy behind the attack and that it cannot be stated with certainty that the mastermind is Naufur Maulavi. The statement made by parliamentarian Shanaki and Rasamanikam in Parliament and the recording he played, the special committee is also required to find out whether the officers and politicians had relations with terrorists as alleged in the Channel 4 documentary and to study the investigations conducted by the police so far and report to the Parliament. The resolution states that even if Parliament is adjourned or prorogued, the committee should have the power to hold meetings and to summon any person to give any document or report to any person. The opposition leader emphasized that several conditions must be fulfilled if the opposition is to support the proposal on the establishing of the select committee.
Firstly, if we are to accept this, allow us to name the chairman of this committee. Allow the opposition, the Samagi Jana Balavegya and the Samagi Alliance to choose the chairman. Secondly, you know that the 9/11 Commission had equal representation from both parties in the United States. 5 from the Democrats and 5 from the Conservatives. Have a similar composition in this committee that you are proposing. If that does not happen, we cannot be a part of this. Whether or not we will take part in this will be decided by us based on the decision of the National Catholic Committee for Justice to Easter Sunday attack victims, headed by the Cardinal and the bishops. I am not of the same stance as the Cardinal, but I agree with the opposition leader. Previously, a Parliament Select Committee was appointed to inquire into the Easter Sunday attacks, and those who hated me were appointed to it. The Speaker should appoint the chairman, and those who are suitable to this committee. Do not allow individual parties to appoint the members. I served as a member of that committee for a long time. I don't know how I became his enemy. I was never an enemy of Maithripala Sirisena. We both came out of the party together. Secondly, all the recommendations in the report were based on the statements made by the officers who were summoned. The developments that took place after the appointment of the first select committee were discussed. This select committee is appointed to provide a space to further discuss those developments. We do not want this to be a hindrance or to block investigations. We are of the same stance as you. A committee has been appointed to look into the economic crisis. The members of this committee, including its chairman, are the ones who raised their hands to bankrupt this country. So they are asking them how the country became bankrupt. Hand over the chairmanship of this committee to the opposition and have equal representation in this committee.
This is a story from the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital about a brain surgery that was performed without anesthesia and while the patient was still awake.
The patient was a painter and sculptor for 36 years. The team, including neurosurgeons Dr. Madhushankar Gomez, Rohan Paris and anesthesiologists Levan Karivasam and Vishaka Kerner of Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital undertook the task of removing a tumor from his brain. The operation was performed without anesthesia. It was while the patient was drawing this lotus flower that the doctors had removed the tumor from his brain. Dr. Madhushankar Gomez, a neurosurgeon, led this groundbreaking surgery. This is called the awake craniotomy. Under this procedure, we maintain mild consciousness of the patient and we observe the movements of his hand and feet. If the patient can maintain these movements during the operation, the patient will be able to do so even after the operation. If a part of the brain that controls his movements is close to being damaged, he cannot continue the movements. At that point, we can stop and ensure that this part of the brain is not damaged. This is the third surgery of this nature performed by the team and the first such surgery performed at a government hospital. After the operation concluded on the 9th of October, the patient was discharged from the hospital on the 11th of October.
India's Foreign Intelligence Agency RAW has issued a warning to security agencies in the country about Chinese spies entering India through Nepal.
Information in this regard had been disclosed on a number of social media platforms, including X, formerly known as Twitter, and Indian websites reporting information regarding national security.
India's Research and Analysis Wing, or RAW, has issued this warning to the institutions dealing with the country's security based on the information revealed in the recent investigations. In these investigations, RAW has discovered that Chinese spies are entering cities such as Pune, Mumbai and Nagpur using Nepali passports and pretending to be residents of the area. They say these well-trained agents, fluent in Hindi and English, are indistinguishable from the local population. RAW has pointed out that the objective of these Chinese spies is not to gather intelligence but to launch an economic war and influence Indian policy making.
News first with the people.
Divisavya, the second leg of the Divisavya program to provide much needed school books and stationery items to school children in Sri Lanka. 18th of October, Monaragala.
දයි දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය වෙනුවෙන් දිවිසවිය LOLC ප්‍රජාසත්කාරක මෙහෙවර.
Several parties filed petitions in the Supreme Court today challenging the online safety bill. The People's Tomorrow Organization and the Lawyers for Truth and Justice filed 2 petitions in the Supreme Court challenging the online security bill.
Freedom of speech and expression given to its citizens of this country by the Constitution of this country is not something that can be suppressed or taken away. We hope that we will have the ability to suspend this bill by turning it into a new law through the Parliament.
Ali Zair Maulana took oaths as a Member of Parliament today.
The oath was taken in front of the Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abewardena. Representing the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Ali Zahir Maulana was appointed to the seat of former Minister Nazir Ahmed.
Solemnly declare and affirm that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Democratic Scotland. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe requested business leaders in China to consider Sri Lanka as the best destination for investment.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe attended the Investment, Trade and Tourism Forum of Sri Lanka in China. Meeting leaders of state-owned enterprises and private entrepreneurs at the embassy, President Wickremesinghe requested them to consider Sri Lanka as their best destination for investment, trade and tourism. The forum was attended by over 150 representatives of more than 100 companies.
Maria Fernanda Garza, the first female chair of the International Chamber of Commerce or the ICC, is set to visit Sri Lanka tomorrow.
Maria Fernanda Garza, the first female chair of the International Chamber of Commerce, will make her first visit to Sri Lanka, and it will comprise of meetings with business and government leaders. During her visit, Garza will meet with key officials. The ICC, which represents 170 countries, has had a pivotal role in fostering business growth in the country for the past 68 years. The International Chamber of Commerce is the only organization to be represented in the United Nations, World Trade Organization and World Intellectual Property Organization.
The war between Israel and Palestine has been going on for an extended period of time now. The fighting only seems to intensify as the days go on. Not only Israelis and Palestinians, but citizens from many other countries across the world have also been affected. They've been abducted, and some of them also killed. Now, the Israeli embassy of Sri Lanka confirmed today that Anula Ratnika, who was missing for more than a week in Israel due to the ongoing conflict, has been confirmed dead.
The Israel Police Department confirmed her death. Anula Ratnika went missing after the Hamas attack on Israel on the 7th of October. She was a resident of Iriavatia, Kalania. Nimal Bandara, the Sri Lankan ambassador to Israel, said that her body will be handed over to the Sri Lankan embassy in 2 days. After completing the necessary formalities, the body will be handed over to her family. In addition, the Sri Lankan ambassador to Israel says that 2 Sri Lankan women were abducted at the Jordan-Israel border.
මේ වන විට ගාසා තීරයේ උතුරු කොටසේ සිට දකුණු කොටස දක්වා එහි පදිංචි ජනතාව ගමන් කොට තිබෙනවා. ඒ අතර ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් 27 දෙනෙක් සිටින බව පලස්තීන නියෝජිතතුමා විසින් පැහැදිලි කරනු ලැබුවා. ඒ 27 දෙනා අනෙකුත් පිරිස සමග ඊළඟට ගාමට ගමන් කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඊජිප්තුව කරා. ඒ අත්අඩංගුවට පත් කරලා ඉන්න සියලු දෙනාගේ විස්තර ලබා දෙන ලෙස රතුකුරුස සංවිධානය හමාස් සංවිධානයේ ඉමක් කර තිබෙනවා. පෙරේදා දිනේදී අපට වාර්තා වුණා යෝර්දාන් ඉස්රායල් දේශ සීමාවත් අසලදී ශ්‍රී ලාංකික කාන්තාවන් දෙදෙනෙකු පැහැරගත් බව. රාත්‍රී අපිට ඔවුන් දෙදෙනාගේ අනන්‍යතාවය ලැබුණා. ඔවුන් දෙදෙනා සත්‍ය වශයෙන්ම ශ්‍රී ලාංකික.
Currently, many in the Gaza Strip are gathered at the Rafah border with Egypt, which is the only exit from Gaza not solely controlled by Israel. Foreign media reports suggest that various parties, including the United States, are in talks with Egypt to reopen the currently closed Rafah crossing. On the 7th of October, Israeli authorities closed all other border crossings due to the Hamas attack on Israel. The sea around the Gaza Strip remains under the control of the Israeli Navy. Additionally, American President Joe Biden is set to visit Israel, where discussions on potential ground attacks against Hamas are expected.
Since the economic crisis hit Sri Lanka, we've also been facing a health crisis in the country. Now, this has seen a rise in the amount of substandard medicine, of course, that is being given to patients. We've received several reports. Some patients have suffered complications. There are incidents where patients have died as well. Investigations into these matters are still ongoing. But this is a revelation that is being made not about a drug that is just substandard. It is in fact illegal. This is the story behind the human immunoglobulin deal for which no one has been held accountable yet.
This is not simply another substandard medical drug. This is an illegal medical drug. How did this drug enter the medical supply division of the Ministry of Health? How does it enter the hospital system of the country? Can absolutely anyone provide absolutely anything to the medical supply division? Can these drugs be injected to the patient's bodies? This is not something that can be considered as a mild lapse. This very expensive drug is a vaccine. It is prepared by separating the plasma in human bodies. This vaccine is mostly administered to neurological patients. If something goes wrong with its complicated production process, the patients could even contract diseases such as HIV or hepatitis. If such a virus is present in this medicine, it could gravely jeopardize the lives of the general public. What exactly has happened here? The Medical Supply Division had given a tender to purchase 22,500 vials of this drug, named human immunoglobulin, and received more than 3,000 of it. This drug was tested following multiple incidents of complications arising in children to whom the drug was administered. That is when it was revealed that the human immunoglobulin does not conform to any prescribed standard. The drug was imported through a waiver of registration, a process which allows for emergency purchasing of medicine. The NMRA says that the waiver used to import this medicine was forged. Institutions under the Ministry of Health are pointing fingers at each other. No one has accepted responsibility for this to date. Can the Medical Supplies Division or absolutely anyone import drugs based on forged letters? This is another grave revelation. According to the information revealed so far, this drug is not an imported one. It has been illegally manufactured in Sri Lanka. The Ministry of Health has purchased each illegally manufactured vial at a price of $130, which now amounts to about 42,000 rupees. In order to purchase 22,500 vials of the drug, about $3 million of the people's money money needs to be allocated. While submitting the documents for the tender, the supplier had stated that the raw materials would be imported from India and prepared in this country. It is said in this document that their company named Spies Biotech Pharma AG in Sri Lanka manufactures a drug named human immunoglobulin by importing raw materials from India's Live Health company. The Ministry of Health had accepted this letter and awarded them the tender. However, the issue is that until now, this company called Spies Biotech Pharma AG does not have any approval or qualification to even manufacture a vitamin pill, let alone a vital drug like human immunoglobulin. The NMRA itself confirmed this.
MP Nalin Bandara raised questions about this in Parliament today.
The motion of no confidence has been defeated. There is a question on duty of the Health Minister and if there has been any recovery in the health sector or have the problems been solved. Many new problems have arisen. The Medical Supply Division has approved these fake documents that have been submitted. Where are these health officials now? How are we to answer these questions? We remember the government knocking on the tables and celebrating on the fact that the no confidence motion was defeated. But the problems of the innocent patients in our villages have not been solved. They have further developed and escalated. A number of groups operate within the government.
Former Member of Parliament Mujibur Rahman expressed his views on the issue of medicine today.
The medicine has been brought and paid for. Now this company is being accused of having forged documents. After making fake documents, they have done so much and paid for these medicines. How did this not get caught and why wasn't it checked? For every death, the MPs and the President of SLPP should take responsibility as they protected the Minister of Health. That is why these patients have been helpless today.
මේ රෝගීන්ගේ ජීවිතවල වගකීම මේ සෞඛ්‍ය ඇමතිවරයා බේරගත්ත ඔය පොහොට්ටුවේ മന്ത്രിවරුයි ජනාධිපතිතුමායි බාර ගන්න ඕනේ.
The Minister of Health clearly has a responsibility. We told the Health Minister to take strict decisions on this. As a matter of fact, it is not the Health Minister who checks the quality of medicines. It is the officers who do so. On the day of the no confidence vote, we directly pointed the finger at the Health Minister. These officers are committing these crimes. Point out that this is wrong. This mafia should be taken down. But where the Health Minister is going to be eliminated, these forces are also against him. What is the reason behind this? The companies importing medicine can bring down an entire government and its ministers. They are financially capable of doing that.
On to your sports news tonight. Sri Lanka Cricket has announced that the Independent Inquiry Committee appointed by Sri Lanka Cricket, which was tasked with investigating the impact of the criminal allegations against cricketer Danushka Gunatilakar in Australia, has recommended a full lifting of the ban imposed on him.
The three-member independent investigation committee was appointed to look into the matter where Danushka Gunatilakar was accused of abusing a woman in Australia. The other members of this committee, headed by retired High Court Judge Sisira Ratnayaka, are Niroshana Pereira and Asela Rakava.
The official ICC Men's Cricket World Cup India 2023.
South Africa took on the Netherlands at the 2023 Cricket World Cup in India today. The Netherlands batted first and scored 245 runs for the loss of 8 wickets within the allocated 43 overs. Cricket fans can watch and listen to all the action of the World Cup via the MTV MBC networks, the official local broadcast rights holder of the tournament. The matches are being streamed live on www.sirsatv.lk.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you again same time, same place tomorrow. Good night.